everybody? Welcome back to The Pod Has Spoken. Last week, we were with Juliet Littman talking about all things Kalo Tribe, CILA, whatever that it is. And we had a really fun time talking about each contestant on that tribe. Big tribes this season, tribes of 8. And this week, we have a journalistic legend of Survivor. I think covered since the very beginning.
Yeah, I wrote about the first episode of Survivor. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Dalton Ross, everybody, who was out on location, witnessed some of the opening days of season 50, did a lot of pre-season press out there on the island with the players, and is personal friends with many players, probably out there, as well as just in general contestants, because you've been covering the show for as long as it's existed. And you sent us an article, a deep dive of your time on the island out there before the game started, talking with all the contestants. And one thing stood out to me. It was the opening of the interview where Jeff talked about no appearance fees like they did on Winners at War. And one of my things I wanted on Winners at War as I went into negotiations was, I don't want to ask for more money. I just want as much as whatever the person getting the most is getting. And Jeff and Jesse assured me no one was getting extra. They wouldn't put it in writing, but they said no one's getting extra. Jesse Tenenbaum went so far as to tell me I could punch him in the face if I found out in the future that people had gotten paid more to be on Winners at War.
Well, you're friends with some of those people. What have they told you? What happens when you ask your good friends that were on Winners at War?
They tell me they got paid extra.
So have you seen Jesse Tenenbaum since?
I haven't, and I know I can't ever punch him in the face, but I just want him to know that I've known for a while, and he's a lying piece of shit.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And if you're dealing with Survivor casting, the head of Survivor casting, don't take everything for truth.
Yeah. Well, it goes in a lot of things when it comes to Survivor. Yeah, they weren't going to do it this time. I remember talking to them a while back, and they said they were going to, they're going to go back to their All-Stars model, which is paying them more than a regular season, right? But but they weren't going to go up to some of the figures that they did, which is going against, like I wrote in the story, it's going against the grain now. I mean, you know this, Tyson, like these other shows, it's really about what the fees can be. And those are sliding scales as well. As you know, the traders scales are massive between what you're getting on if you were on Love Island and what you're getting on what you're getting if you were on the Housewives. I mean, that's pretty much the range there. It's Love Island to Housewives.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there's pluses and minuses to that. You're not going to get all the biggest names if you're not going to pay anything. And you will maybe get some, I mean, desperate maybe isn't the word, but more willing to be there is the word. So either way, I read that and I already knew that I was being lied to in the moment when Jeff was like, we won't put that in writing, but like, I just want to assure you, nobody's getting more than anybody else out here. And then Jesse was like, that's something we don't do. And I was like, I know you do it. I know you've done it. And I know you're doing it here. And then they were just like, well, do you want to go or not? And I was this close to being like, I don't think I want to go. And I know Mike Holloway was my backup for Winners at War, because he was like, they were telling me it was over a money dispute. I was like, it wasn't a dispute. I just wanted what other people were getting.
First off, the ultimate blindside. It looks like Tyson just got blindsided there by Survivor, but I think you knew it, as you said, and I think you made the right decision still to go. I mean, like, maybe not for any other random season, like a Game Changers or something like that, but like there's certain ones like 40 all winners, 50, just kind of cool to be a part of that whole process. And it felt like that when I was out there. I mean, I don't know if it felt like that for you, Tyson, like that first, but when I was out there on that sand spit for the first day of 40, which is, by the way, where we shot that cover for 50, it felt cool. Like it was like the crew was more excited. People, doofuses like me that somehow scammed my way onto that sand spit were more excited. It just felt different. It was the same thing for Heroes and Villains. That first day of Heroes and Villains, didn't know it at the time that would be this epic season, but when you guys came down in those choppers and that first challenge, there are a few days, like I've been on location a lot, there are a few days that just feel special. And those were probably two at the top of the list.
Yeah, I think what made Winners at War is that Jeff was so adamant about not doing an all-winner season.
I know.
But when Jeff says that, you know it's happening. It's like...
But he was adamant for years.
For years, that's what I'm saying.
Way back.
And he's been adamant for years about not doing an all-star like this and that. And so you know it's coming at some point as the tides turn or things shift. And so him not saying it did, I think, also make it more exciting for people when it happened. But did it feel different than Blood versus Water or Tocantins? I mean, I guess so. I guess Heroes versus Villains, they did that huge helicopter thing.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. Like some of the pictures of the contestants getting off the helicopters, mine especially, is very, like, I have a picture of it somewhere, very iconic. It's one of the best pictures I have of myself. So 50 had that same energy.
50, it being out there definitely did. The marooning, I wouldn't say felt as iconic just because of the setup of the way it sort of was, I guess. You know, it felt very similar to New Era seasons. You know, you're going to get out. I mean, the barge they came in on was cool. You guys have seen it in the trailer. The barge they came in on was pretty freaking cool and had the giant 50 logo on it. That was like, oh, this is awesome. Once they got to the beach, it just felt like more like a typical New Era marooning. Like, all right, we're going to talk for a little bit. Now we're going to go straight into a challenge. So, you know, but on that sand spit just felt so different. Like for 40, I'm like, this is cool. And then the choppers, I remember what I do is I get right by the front. There's like a wall of cameras, right? And I tuck in underneath. I basically like go on my knees underneath the cameras so I can be close, but I'm not blocking anything. So when those choppers came down on Heroes versus Villains, all the sand kicked up. And basically it was like I was in a horror movie. It just covered me. It like blasted me.
Yeah.
And I still like all day just had sand. It was so cool. So there's certain things like that that feel a little different. Unfortunately, other than the barge, the 50 marooning just felt kind of the same. I mean, I'm not saying it was bad. It just didn't, you know. It wasn't different enough.
Okay. Wasn't a celebration.
There are no champagne flutes out this time, Tyson. No champagne flutes.
Okay. This is the largest cast Survivor's ever had. Did that feel different?
It did. And I'll tell you what's also interesting. Maybe this is a little too much inside baseball. I know Tyson will appreciate this, having gone through this a few times, but I don't know if anyone else will. Not only was it the most contestants we'd ever had, but it was the most press that have ever been on location.
Okay.
And because this was coming off of maybe 49, where maybe there was some, we know 2 players got kicked off the season for talking too much. We know there's been other accusations against other players. It was wild, the lockdown. And lockdown's always different from season to season. I mean, I remember being out there for Fans versus Favorites, Micronesia, and players were literally sitting there in a circle on folding chairs, smoking, talking. Like there was just nothing at all. Like no lockdown at all. And I've been on other seasons where it's been really locked down. This was crazy. All the contestants, Tyson, that had to go, and you remember this from 40, you'd go be sort of walked to a place where you do an interview or do a photo shoot or this, that. I kind of will like walk and get the person and bring them. What they made all the players do this time is put on like noise canceling headphones.
Wow.
As you were walking anywhere.
So
now that's so you couldn't hear the other interviews, but people really were locked down. And what's funny about it is your boy Coach, who is on the tribe that we're going to be talking about today, was going kind of stir crazy. Like he literally was in that tent, and you know what it's like when you're stuck in that tent all day. And he was used to a little more laissez-faire pregame situation, and like they were locking everything down, and he was not happy about it and kind of freaking out a little bit.
Okay. Pacing, arguing with
pacing,
people.
like talking back to the handlers, like, I need to get out of here. Like, I'm getting claustrophobic. And like the other contestants are all telling me, everyone had a Coach story. Everyone had a story about him in the pregame, just how he was just like being weird and like, just kind of like freaking out a little bit. But they all loved him. Like that was the biggest crazy takeaway, was how into Coach everyone was. Now, some of that I'm sure was pregame alliances that were made, and other that was just like New Era players that are just sort of fanboying or fangirling over him, but it was like the cult of coach out there.
Are we going to get talk of pregame alliances in the season this year?
So, it's interesting where on your season with the quote unquote poker alliance was the first time and that wasn't really even a real thing. Right.
Yeah.
But it was it was brought into the strategy that Yule was using. And that's the first time we've ever seen that on screen.
Yeah.
If there was ever another time, this would be it. I figured that it wouldn't be, which is why I put so much of it in my article.
Yeah. And do you think the players were honest about it in the article here? Like who they talked to and chit-chatted and deals?
No. The line, as you know, that most people give is, and I'd press them and I'd be like, come on, don't lie. You're bullshitting me.
Yeah.
And what they mostly would say is, well, I didn't call anyone, but if someone called me,
of course, you
have to take the call, but I really didn't want to, but felt like I had to. Now, a few people were open about it, or a few people this is the other line to say, well, I just talked to one or two people.
Yeah.
Like I talked to this person and this person, but that was pretty much it. I also had one or two people that on the record told me that they didn't do any pre-gaming. Then the second I turned my recorder off, like, oh yeah, I totally did.
Yeah.
I
wish they would just be honest with it. I don't know if it's still in the contract to not pre-game, but they're not enforcing it. So just take it out of the contract and let people be open with it.
Enforce it, right? Like there's
you can enforce it.
So,
you can literally cross-check with people.
Well,
like it's pretty
person,
open knowledge who was in pregame alliances for season 40 now. Take the fucking prize money. You got to do it one time and then they're done. Then they stop pre-gaming.
They'll never do that. They'll never do that. But I'll tell you what, one person, I won't reveal who yet because it's going to be an interview I'm going to post later, but one person was very specifically worried that they were going to get cut from the cast for the pre-game. And you kind of roll your eyes like that would never happen. But then again, maybe coming off 49 at the time.
I believe that people had been cut for pre-gaming before the game started in the past. I think there's chances of that happening on all-star seasons all the time where maybe somebody is talking too much and they don't specifically say, oh, they're not going because, but I think that is part of the reason that some people have not been selected for certain seasons. But I think make it the reason, but also just don't pay somebody their prize money after it's totally announced that they're pre-gaming. You do it once, Riley. You take 80 grand or 2 million from a pre-gamer. Nobody's going to pre-game ever again.
But how do you can't...
But then don't put it in the contract. That's my argument. Then don't put it in the contract.
Don't put it in the contract. But the line is so blurred between what's a pre-gaming alliance versus what is just people know each other. This all these Survivor contestants are part of this broader community. They're all meeting at these watch parties and everything. And it's like they might just have some familiarity with each other. And that becomes part of the like pre-gaming alliances, just like they're just friends. They just know each other. But
then what we need it out of the contract, and we need full transparency from the players when they're doing interviews and when they're in their confessionals, because then it makes sense when somebody's in love with somebody that we don't know they've even met. Now we know.
To what extent do we even know that the pre-game alliances impact the totality of the game versus that they're just like any other alliance where they can fall apart at any time?
But we don't get to see them form. We don't get to see them materialize, and we don't understand the relationships because we're not seeing where they're coming from.
All right, new solution. If you've been on Survivor and
just be open to Dalton. Just be open to Dalton that you were...
No. The new solution is we'll have cameras on these people all the time and we'll bug their phones and whatnot. Yeah, so then we can have, if they're ever cast on a future season of Survivor. Okay, now
these people would love having cameras on themselves all the time. Are you kidding me? That's
a lot of them do, and they're not even getting paid for it. They're doing it themselves.
I will say this to what Tyson said. I remember because I was out there in 49 when the people got cut. Literally, I was out there when they took the cast photo with them in, and then like a few hours later they were gone. And I think they it's really interesting because had press not been there, there were just like two of us there. That would not have been a whole story, would not have come out.
Right.
I told Jeff, like, I think this is good for us to write this story and for it to get out. Like, this is, and at first I don't think he was on board, but then you could see he realized, like, oh yeah, this is a good lesson to what Tyson's saying. This will lock people down in the future if they know this. And to your other point, Tyson, that you think people got cut because they were doing pre-gaming, even if that wasn't the explicit reason given. I think you might be right. But what I would say this is that if it's someone that they know they really, really, really want, they're not going to cut that person.
Correct.
It's only those borderline people.
Correct.
Like if Boston Rob was off talking to everyone before Winners at War, they're not going to, Probst was not going to cut Boston Rob. Johnny Fairplay was banned from every Survivor event after getting in a fist fight with Probst's brother. And then they brought him back on the show for Micronesia. I mean, he was literally banned. So, because they wanted him on the show. They wanted the big villain back. So I think you're right that those borderline people have to be more careful than some of the others.
Yeah. But I think take it out of the contract and tell everyone, just speak freely about it in the press and speak freely about it when you're on the island instead of masking it. Because that's the whole point of Survivor, is getting to see inside these people's brains. And
I will say this. I really do my best to keep unspoiled. I don't want to be spoiled on the season. I see what I see when I'm out there. And then when I get home, I want to write about the show like someone just watching the show having no knowledge. I don't want to have my thoughts colored by knowing the outcome. And I am unspoiled for this season, miraculously, which is great. But the one thing I have heard is that people on the island were talking about this a lot. So going all the way back to your original question, Tyson, will this make the edit? I've been told that people we're trying to figure that out. Like, can we edit around this or not? And if they feel they can't edit around it, then you do have to put it in. Yeah. Which I think would be interesting to the viewers at home. I mean, obviously big fans know this happens. Your casual viewer probably has no idea that this happens.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hearing casting calls went out a year in advance.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe people have been playing this game for a year before even filming, which to me sounds so exhausting, because my experience with pregame is blood versus water. Sandra was in the mix. She would call for hours and tell me who was on and who wasn't on and I would literally take my phone, set it down, do whatever thing I'm doing, pick up, she's still talking. And you can't cut it short, because then you're like, oh, then they'll think I'm not with them. It's a whole thing. And she wasn't even on the season. And I had to spend hours almost every day listening to the new information that she had gathered about whoever it was that was maybe also not even on the season in the end.
How much did you talk to RC?
0. Did she do some talking?
Well, no, she was out there with you guys.
She was.
And then left. So I was just curious whether that was wasted time pre-gaming before she...
Candace talked a lot too. Candace
as the alternate. That's interesting.
And then she ended up being on the show. But yeah, she talked a lot as well. And she actually, I believe that's one of the reasons that she got voted out first, is because everybody figured out she was talking to everybody.
Well, that's
so it's not even necessarily helpful to pregame. It can backfire.
Yeah, but it's like drugs in professional cycling. Like maybe only 10% are taking drugs.
It's like drugs in professional cycling.
Listen, you're saying that sometimes the outcome isn't affected by pregaming. If one person pregames, the outcome is affected in some capacity. Well, and the same is with drugs. Only a small percentage, but then they're driving the pace harder. Everything is different. The movement of the game is different. That's how pre-gaming also affects the game. There's so many small variables and variances that are changed because these relationships are different. So let's hear about the relationships that happened. That's all I'm saying. I
mean, the outcome is affected. I guess it's just less clear to me if it's definitely an advantage to pre-game versus going in as a free agent.
It can be both. Exactly. It can be both or neither, but it does definitely affect the outcome. I believe that winners have been decided because they pre-gamed properly. I believe that people got eliminated earlier because they pre-gamed improperly. Yes, it can affect either way. It's also how you play it.
The two things I want to say. One, I'm fascinated by what you said about that's why Candace was voted out early. Because I remember being out there for that. And just for people that don't know, Candace and John, because RC and her father got pulled, there were only 9 teams It was 20 of you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were like 9 teams out there. And so we're doing all our interviews. There's, Candace and John are not there. So they, at the very end, they get everyone together for the group cast photo, and then they literally bring them in.
They sneak them in from behind.
During the photo. What I had always assumed is, maybe one of the reasons Candace went is because she came late. She hadn't been in the Philippines with them for that, and so she didn't have time to sort of make those bonds and what have you. And I assumed that's why it was. And you're telling me it was the exact opposite.
It was the opposite. That she had I was horrified of her because she was talking to me all the time and telling me that we were together. She was like alliance, whatever. And then she'd come with more information. And then the information about others I was like, oh, she's talking to everybody. Because she'd be like, hey, so-and-so said this, and I heard about this, and I heard about this. It's like, if you heard about that, you were talking to somebody to hear about that. So maybe I'm not like your guy out here. And so I was already horrified of her going in because she has bonds with everybody already. And I don't know where I truly stand with her. But then everybody voted her out, and I was super relieved.
It's also interesting because as you talk about the pre-gaming, one of the calculations you have to make, which I think you have seen in some returning player seasons, and Tyson, you can speak whether this is the case in yours at all. But, you make these agreements with people. You don't even know what the tribe makeup is going to be. You don't know who else you might be aligned with, who then might, you might need to cut that person.
Yeah.
If you have no pregame alliance, they're not going to hold a grudge. You're not going to maybe have a bitter juror situation. If you had a deal and then you cut that person, it's going to cut hard. And that could really negatively impact you. Did that you see that play out at all in your go-around sites? Because I've seen it before in other ones. Yeah.
Winners at War, Sandra wanted Tony out, but their pregame wouldn't allow her to write his name down. So she did the whole Denise swippity-swappity idol thing to try and get Tony gone without her being the one that did it.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
So, yeah,
it's
very
big part of the game, man. Big part of the game.
It is. So remember, if you sign up for Survivor on an all-star season, it's not just a month of your life or a month and a half of your life. It can be a year.
It's your whole life.
It's your whole life for a year. Drop everything every time you're at work and the phone rings and it's somebody you better answer so you don't offend them. Let's get into our tribe. When I asked Dalton to do this, he said he wanted to do the tribe with Coach because Coach talked about me apparently, or he has some Coach stories that I would appreciate. Let's get to the Kalo Tribe. That's how I'm going to say it.
I think that's spirit
right. In Fijian. Riley, you speak Fijian? Did I say Kalo right?
It's
Kalo or Kalo, one of the two.
I'm still working through my Fijian Duolingo. I don't think I've gotten there yet.
I'm excited for you. Dalton, let's get to Coach. We may as well just start off with Coach since that's the reason you wanted to cover this tribe.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, so fascinating. And it just so fascinating. First off, the reaction to Coach from everyone. I mean, like easily the person that the most people said they either wanted to work with or were so excited to play with was Coach. Which I did not see coming at all. Obviously, you're going to get that with like Sari, right? Or people are going to be excited about Mike White, the celebrity of Mike White, or certain things like that. But like,
so they can be in a beach scene.
Exactly. Yeah. Get that cameo on lock. But it was Coach, man. It was Coach. And this is even with Coach being a total weirdo during pregame. Rizzo's talking about him doing Tai Chi at LAX.
Yeah.
Apparently, multiple people told me this story where they had their first production meeting with all of them at like the airport at LAX. And Coach waits, and Coach confirmed this to me, by the way, later that he intentionally did this. He waits till everyone else is in the room, and then he walks down, like Rick Devin says, like the Terminator, walking down the aisle, sits in the very front row, takes the glasses off dramatically. Like, it was just like making himself such a spectacle, which is just amazing. But, you're going to get that with Coach. You're going to get the hilarity and the stories and the nicknames and what have you. But I think he's pretty well set up in this game in multiple ways. There's definitely, we talk about the pre-gaming, there's definitely some sort of like honor and integrity alliance going on here, right? Like, if you cross-reference what everyone told me, it's like, it seems to be Colby, it's the people you'd expect. Colby, Coach, Joe, Jonathan, Stephanie seems to be in that mix somehow. It's like, those are the people that are all together. You see coaches with Jonathan on this tribe. Coach also mentions that I'm a little out of it. I was out of the Survivor scene for a while, but I've met a few of them. He mentions to me a few days before the game that he's met Dee, that he's met Charlie. Guess what? They're both on his tribe. I don't know if they had hardcore deals or not, but they're both on his tribe. Then who is the biggest Coach fan in the entire cast? It's Kamilla. She's a massive Coach fan. Her favorite players ever are like Coach and Philip Shepard and Q. She loves the chaos.
Yeah.
And so she's on that tribe as well. So Coach is this weird figure where he's going to give you all that eccentricity and stuff. But I think he's actually set up pretty well with just fans and people that he's already, seemingly made deals with.
Yeah. I also, when you talk about that and people wanting to work with him and wanting to be with him, that wasn't the response from the fan base after Tocantins. There were a lot of people that really hated Coach after Tocantins. And
it was a different era of audiences watching reality TV. I feel like now
this same audience celebrates and loves Coach's Tocantins appearance. It is 100% iconic and viewer approved. Whereas as it was happening real time, people hated it.
I still remember I wrote my recap for probably about half or 2/3 of the way through the season, the headline, "Learning to Love Coach." Because you're right, Tyson. If you just watch the first 3-4 episodes, you're like, this MF, this guy is like a terrible misogynist, like ego blowhard. And this is before they're doing, I guess, all like the eagle screeches while he's like, the edit really did him a solid as it goes on. But you're so right. The week to week was a totally different story back in the day.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah. He'd call me crying, being like, why do people hate me? My parents are embarrassed, all of this. And and I was like, I'm getting the same thing, dude. Don't worry about it. And he's like, yeah, but there's also people who like you. Like nobody likes me right now. And I was like, I don't think that's true because my friends think you're hilarious when we're watching it. But I don't know what your experience is. So the fact that now Tocantins is celebrated 99% positively by the viewers for both Coach and myself is such a crazy turnaround that it has not just a staying power, but that it is now received positively when it wasn't always positive back then.
And the connection still with you and Coach continues. I mean, we saw it on Heroes Villains. We saw that scene where you're telling him stop telling your dumb stories, you did knock it off.
You DM'd me right after you saw that episode and said, why are you ruining Coach? Don't.
That's right, I did.
Yeah.
I did. And then he tells me when I'm out there, and Tyson, I don't know, you can give us the timeline on when this happened. But as he tells me, look, Tyson gave me a lot of advice coming out here for 50. He said basically that I need to wait. I had this. I wrote this down somewhere. I've got the quote here. All right, here's what he told me. Tyson told me after Wars at War, do not go do Tai Chi, which I will not do. Do not give nicknames, which I will do. But he said, just sit at camp. Don't go off. Let people come to you. And they said, I've never been good at reading the room because, to be honest, there's a world out here of which the camera's on me and I want to perform for it because I'm a performer. So I don't look at the stuff at camp. I've got to get my head out of my ass and look around and see who's talking to who. So it sounds like, Tyson, you were giving him some advice in terms of just camp life and forging connections there.
Yeah, don't scramble. I think if you're a big threat going into a game or you're looked at somebody as a danger or someone who can play the game or whatever, you sit at camp and people will come and whisper in your ear, and it doesn't give the visuals to everyone that you're scrambling and running around and making connections with everybody. But if you just sit at camp in front of the fire, mind your business, take your naps in the shelter, go to bed at night normally, people are going to be whispering in your ear the whole time. You're going to get Jonathan over there being like, hey, Coach, anyways, I wanted to, you're going to get that. And you're not going to be perceived as the scrambler. I believe there's a time to scramble if you're definitely on the block and you need to make sure things are working in your favor, or if you're trying to find an idol or something. But I think as initially here, if you're not perceived as the weak link in challenges, just sit back. Don't piss people off. Let them come to you. Keep things short and quiet and quick. And I think you'll be surprised at how many connections you can forge by literally sitting there with your ears open.
And he's already playing with house money. Just like I said, the people on his tribe, I think he is. He was doing some weird, he's being coached. Listen, there was some weird stuff at the marooning he was doing. And he was like, here's the best part about Coach. This is why I love Coach. He keeps putting this narrative out. He did it in my interview and he does it. I'm sure they'll cut this out, but he did it at the marooning or at the first challenge. He's like, yeah, I know you didn't think that I'd be back here, Jeff. You never thought I'd say yes to doing this again. And I'm like, really? Is that real? Is that really true?
Everyone was concerned.
Yeah, that it was a big, huge, that he was, he said no and no for years. And now all of a sudden they finally twisted that arm enough for Coach to come back. I love the narrative. Whether it's true or false, I just love it.
I loved, Dalton, the anecdote in your article where Rizzo, kind of is like, the Riz God thing is a joke. I'm playing a character, but Coach is like, he believes all this stuff. He's just actually who he is. He's such a one of one. And we're just like lucky to watch him on reality TV. What an incredible character.
Yeah. He's so funny. He talked to me after Winners at War and he was like, I never wanted to play again after South Pacific. I just was done. But after seeing you on Winners at War, I kind of got the itch to do one more. And then I did the challenge and he was like, I heard from him, he's like, oh man, you're getting all these. He's like, I got one more in me. I'm going to do it one more time when the time is right. And and then he even to this day, he tells me that they didn't call him. He called them and told him he was ready.
Yes. It's so good.
It's like the whole like a Chuck Norris joke. Survivor doesn't invite you; you invite yourself on Survivor.
I mean, I'm sure we'll see him on the Traitors, and we'll see him in House of Villains. We'll see him all over again, and as we should. Yeah, he's a gift.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be fun to see him on those shows. Anything else from Coach? How deep is he going to run? He's going to have a deep run because of all these connections, or is he going to flub it?
Tyson, I'm telling you, it wasn't just me. All of us in the press afterwards were like, I think Coach is my winner pick. Mean, it's just, It's so weird. It's so weird. But then you think, well, he was really close to winning last time, right? So it's maybe not. I mean,
he hugged people when he votes them out this time?
I don't think the religion thing is going to happen. I think he realized that was probably a step too far and helped in his demise at Final Tribal there. But no, I mean, everyone there was like, I think Coach is my winner pick. It's crazy. No one thought that. No one thought that showing up in Fiji to cover Survivor 50. Yeah. And then after the interviews, we were all like, wow. No other player seems set up the way he is. I mean, we know the way these all-star seasons go. It's usually the people that you're not thinking about, the lower threat levels that kind of get through. Yeah. I mean, even someone like a Tony going to Winners of War, he was not because he'd had Game Changers where he went out really early, and he seemed like such a lunatic on Game Changers that he wasn't even seen on Winners at War as the big person to get out. Right. And I don't think any of the other, I can tell you this, no player when I was like, who are you really worried about there? Not a single person said Coach. So again, that works in his favor. His favorability rating is super high and his threat level is super low. And that's a great place to be going into a season.
Interesting. Okay. Let's talk about one of these understated players, Tiffany Ervin. She is one of the ones that I looked at as the cast was announced and was like, she could win it. She's one of those that's under the radar that nobody's really even expecting to be a part of a big season like this. How did it feel to you out there? What are her odds?
Totally agree. When I saw the cast list, I'm like, oh my God, this is set up so well for her. And Tiffany is super likable. When you're one-on-one with her, she's great. And yet comes off as not that threatening. So we didn't see her make any huge betrayal move or anything like that. So no one was worried about her going in. And that's not to diss her as a strategist. There's just no concrete thing you could point to and be like, I'm worried about that, which works great for her. I think it's fascinating that there were a lot of as I said, wrote in my story, 3 was the magic number this season. You had 3 different seasons that had 3 different people from their season on the season. You have 3 people that have no connections from anyone. You have 3 like on fire hosts. You have like all these weird things. I was very surprised that they put 2 46 people on the same tribe together. It's the only one, like there's no David Goliath people together. There's no 48 people together, but the 46ers, Tiffany and Charlie are both on that tribe together and, are good with each other. Like, like outside of the game, there's no issues there. So there's no like, oh, I'm not going to trust this person that time necessarily. So I think she's set up pretty well. And I think people are going to enjoy playing with her.
Who's she going to play with?
From this tribe?
Sure. From the tribe.
Once she gets off the tribe, her and Q, it's funny considering all the drama that they had in the show, but they're good. Yeah. Like they get along well, and they are, if she gets to, if they get together, then I think they're going to work together.
Okay.
So, but I think she'd work with anyone on this tribe. I don't think anyone, there's no one on this tribe that said that they were worried about Tiffany.
Right. When they're doing the pre-game stuff, did they already know their tribes? Like when they were talking to you before the game started, or did they not know their tribes until they hit the beach?
They did not. Some of them had theories based on, putting on clothes for photos, or as I said, like, okay, well, obviously the 48 people aren't going to be together. The winners aren't going to be together, things like that. But when I spoke to them, it was, again, this is too inside baseball. It was a longer pregame process out there than usual. And there were just so many commitments that they were doing so much marketing stuff. It was just crazy. We had that day where we took them out for the EW shoot. So I think they had their suspicions, but they did not know full tribe breakdowns. No.
Okay. Let's go to Charlie then. Charlie also from 46 with Tiffany. What are your perceptions of him on that tribe? Is he going to fit in with those guys? You look at this tribe and you have, I guess half of them are young and half of them, Jonathan's young too. So you only have Mike White, Coach, and Chrissy that are older, and then everybody else is younger and new era.
Yeah, I think that people are worried about Charlie. People are worried about Charlie. He's got that thing where he played relatively recently. He's a smooth operator. He's smart.
He's known for being smart.
Came about as close as you can to winning without winning.
Yeah, it's that Maria vote. And I think the thing that's scary about Charlie is that he's got a great poker face, right? He's so even. He's just so almost non-expressional a lot of the times.
Yeah.
That you can't get a good read on him. He's so calculating. And that's scary out there. It's like why Kyle's scary. People were scared of Kyle. I can't remember who it was, but one person was telling me that I think it's Christian Hofbeck was telling me, that the scariest people are the normal people. It's people like Charlie and Kyle that they're not like, big, huge emotional people. They're not weird characters. They're not winners. They're just these people that are, well, Kyle's a winner, but like, they're the people that like, just, you can't get a good read on them. And they lie so effortlessly. My read on Kyle, I know we're not talking about Kyle, but this sort of gets to Charlie too a little bit. I interviewed Kyle before 48 for the game. And I literally said, this guy doesn't have it. This guy's too nice. He can't get his hands dirty. He's not going to be able to like lie to people. I could not have been more wrong. Like literally could not have been more wrong, because that's what he gave me. It's like, I'm just this nice guy that should be trusted at all times. Charlie is the same way. Now we've seen them, so you can't trust him.
Right.
But so that sort of hurts him a little bit. D, we talked about pre-gaming. D, in my interview, she admitted that she said she only talked to 3 people. She talked to Emily from her season. She talked to Kyle, and she talked to Charlie.
Okay.
So clearly there's a D Charlie thing. We don't know how firm it is, how much it means, but she brought up Charlie. Coach brought up only a few new era people he spoke to, and one of them was D and one of them was Charlie. So maybe there's a Charlie Coach thing there. Again, just all the chips for some of these players are falling in the right space in terms of who they talk to and who they maybe built alliances with, but at least have met and talked to outside the game. So in that sense, you say, all right, maybe Charlie's a little insulated.
Did Charlie say he had talked? Did Charlie say he had talked to a lot of players, or was he not?
I think Charlie's one of those person that's just like, obviously, like, no, he tried to downplay it and say that he had, essentially. Which is what most of them did.
Because it almost sounds like maybe Charlie was the one reaching out and talking, and I'm wondering if he's like the Candace of this season, and everyone's going to be like, he was talking to everybody. He's really scary. He's very calculating and smart.
It could be. It's so hard because like they all say like, people called me, I didn't call them, and then like you hear a few things. You're like, Angelina was talking to everyone, and Angelina was very open to me that she was speaking to people. So that's why I love Angelina. So I know we're not talking about her in that tribe, but like she'll just be open about it.
Well, that's what we want. That's what we need, because now we're left here with questions that we should have answers to, because you asked them the questions, Dalton, but they're still masking it. Which for what? Because they think the audience is, we already know you're pre-gaming, everybody. Like, you don't have to hide it from us. Don't hide it from us. Hide it from your fellow contestants if you must, but don't hide it from us. We want the God view of knowing exactly what's happening everywhere at all times.
The one thing of speaking about that, Tyson, that could work against Charlie, like I mentioned, that honor and integrity alliance.
Yes.
Jonathan and Coach both definitely in that. And Jonathan said very clearly the first person he wants out is Charlie.
Wow.
He said like, Charlie and I just don't like, I don't think we have anything in common, and he's scary. And Jonathan wants Charlie out. Now, how hard is he going to push for that? We don't know. But if he pushes for that, and he and Coach are in cahoots, and if Kamilla wants to play with Coach, then maybe there's a way where things don't go up so hot for Charlie out of the gate.
Do you think him being a host of the On Fire podcast for a season is a detriment for him? Like, are people either listening to his ideas on that podcast that were scripted for him by Jeff Probst, or is there a jealousy factor? Like, they picked him, not me, or is that not a factor?
How about the other angle? There's two On Fire hosts on the same tribe. You got D as well, who hosted. So is that island big enough for the both of them? I think I'm trying to remember in my when I did this thing where I had them all vote their first person out. Tyson, you did it back at Winners at War too.
Yeah,
and I think Charlie may have picked D. I can't remember. The On Fire
misdirect.
The On Fire mention might have been like, not big enough for both of them. So you got those two On Fire hosts there. It is interesting about that, and you got Devon's also on a different tribe who's the on. Yes. Those are the three, and it's kind of like, does this put them in the running again to do On Fire hosting for 51 if you're on 50? Like, I don't know the way that works. But they broke the mold with Jeremy. He wasn't on the previous season, so maybe that's all out the window now.
I mean, there's a thing where you're like, if I'm on this, I'm looking at them like, okay, these are the 3 Nepo babies. But also, like, is working with the Nepo babies going to be more advantageous with whatever nudges and prods production maybe even subconsciously gives versus going against them? Like, I don't know. But those are also factors.
Let me ask you this, if this is a factor. Break it down for me. Is screen time a factor when you decide about getting rid of someone? Let's say there's someone that you know is getting a lot of screen time. Because this came up in one of my interviews.
Screen time, if I think they're getting screen time over me specifically.
Yes. Well, you get rid of them.
Then probably, yeah. If I'm like, okay, they're a close character to me and it looks like they're being more favored by production right now. If it's not a factor to me, if I'm like, whether or not that person's here, it's not going to bump my screen time up. But also, I'm fine. I personally am fine without the bulk of screen time. I feel like I'm not as affected as others are by it, like looking at it. But also, most of the time, I've been the baby of production on those seasons. Like Tocantins, I did a lot of interviews, and I think Blood versus Water, I did a lot of interviews, and even Winners at War. So I never felt threatened by that. But someone who's more understated maybe would feel that way. But for me, I don't feel like I would be in direct competition with people. I know that I'm unique and an individual, and my point of view is different, and the way I describe what I'm going through is different than other people. So It's not a threat to me. But I do believe that for some it is.
Yeah, and I've had a few people admit that it's a consideration. Ooh. And I think, well, they weren't, I guess they were.
Not openly?
I can say openly. I remember Jenna from this season, she wasn't saying it for her, but she said that she was thinking that Rick Devens would be in trouble because of that. That people will see he's a big character, gets a lot of screen time, and that'll be why people want to take him out. There's also the flip side is, I want to say it was Johnny Fairplay. I might be crediting him when it was someone else because it was a long time ago, but I think it was maybe him in Micronesia, where he said a pitch was for him to stay in the game was going to be like to his castmates, look, I'll make this season epic. Keep me around. It's going to basically all boats will rise with the tide and it'll be a great season. And then they're going to want to bring us all back. And that was a pitch.
That is not a horrible pitch for people who are seasoned enough, but also people will probably be like, we can do it without you.
Yeah, doesn't it read as kind of insulting? It's like, oh, you need me around to make this season entertaining. Otherwise, you motley lot of losers. Well, who wants to watch you?
There's a moment like that comes up on House of Villains. Whether or not they show it, I don't know. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out. But I don't think that's the right pitch. That is insulting. Yeah. And also, I do believe, though, that in a lot of players, they want to target the bigger personalities for the screen time thing. But I do believe that working with the bigger names elevates your career. If you're doing it for career purposes, working with a bigger name elevates your career more than trying to take them out. I think someone like Sarah Lacina is more concerned with taking out people who she thinks are the audience likes more than her, but it's a detriment to her because then people are like, ugh, she got rid of our favorites, or she doesn't now have that to elevate her in tandem. And I do believe that being partnered with Rob on Heroes versus Villains was good for me professionally. And being with Coach on Tocantins also good for me professionally, where I easily could have gone the other way and been like, this nut job is getting all the screen time. Let me get rid of him. But I was not concerned with that. I was entertained and I trusted him, and it ended up working. And I think same with my friendship with Boston Rob. And it's not even that was a professional move, but in hindsight, looking and being like, everyone wanted Boston Rob out first on Heroes versus Villains for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Tyson, why aren't we seeing Never Nervous Jervis then on the Traders and House of Villains? Where's Jervis getting that bump, that Tyson bump?
How do you know he's not on House of Villains?
All right. Ooh, dropping a little tease there. Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe. So I think, and it can work both ways, but I do believe that people who are threatened just because someone is a bigger personality or a bigger name, to target them just because of that can be your detriment, maybe even career-wise.
Yeah, it's fascinating, those factors that the average viewer doesn't realize can sort of come into consideration, especially with the new landscape for reality TV, like we talk about with guarantees and all these shows popping up. Yeah. Where you can sort of make a living out of doing this. And that is a consideration. Once you kind of get
into one, they push you around to the others. Once you're on that NBC Peacock train, you're on the NBC Peacock train. It's getting on that's difficult. But once you are there, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful opportunity for the people who get there.
What was that thing Rob was doing where it was like during one of the football games and they made him like on some simulcast be watching the game with like some housewives or something, and like he looked like he was in a hostage video because he's watching football, which he loves to do, but he's watching with people that had no idea what was going on in the game,
that were there specifically to mock people who enjoy football.
Yeah. So good.
And he was at the Super Bowl. NBC sent him to the Super Bowl with his group of friends yesterday. Like, that's some pretty cool opportunities there. So let's talk about opportunities. Mike White, everyone clamoring to make that cameo on the White Lotus. And, if I were hired to do the gay sex scene in White Lotus, why wouldn't I?
Why is that your go-to?
There was a Survivor player.
There was a Survivor in the gay sex scene on the
gay sex scene.
Yes. I guess that's true. That was more than a cameo. That was like an actual role, though. I was thinking more like the Angelina
to do that. Honestly, I'd be like, "Can I leave my shirt on and don't show my penis?" Those are my two. You can show my butt, and I can pretend to do whatever you need me to, but I have to leave my shirt on.
It is a wild factor having him there. And we talk about all the concerns besides game. But like, trust me, you think these people don't want to get a cameo on the White Lotus? You think that's not a consideration? It's totally a consideration. Now, there's people that said that wouldn't be that, if I have to get rid of Mike White, I'm getting rid of Mike White. I remember Genevieve telling me that she was really bummed he was there because no one's going to want to get rid of him early because just for that reason. And so it's just this, and you could say, as I talked to Mike, and Mike's like, yeah, but maybe someone wants to go trophy hunting, right? And they want to be the person to take me out. And maybe that's a factor. It's just absolutely wild, all the off-island considerations that he brings into playing this game.
He's one of those guys where you're either trophy hunting or you're protecting him at the hopes of boosting your career in some capacity.
Yeah. I don't know that he's got a ton of protection on this tribe, though. That's where I think he, you look at it like there's certain ways where maybe he could. Now,
could he promise cameos? Could that be one of his things? Is like, don't vote me out today, and I guarantee you a cameo. Like that's.
Well, even beyond that, remember he flew everyone that voted for him at the end of David versus Goliath. He took on a massive vacation somewhere afterwards.
And I also heard that he chartered a boat during Winners at War and took the boat right past edge of extinction.
Really?
While we were standing on the beach.
It's incredible. It's just absolutely wild. So like who's he got? Okay, so Chrissy's there. Chrissy, we know, has a definite huge pregame alliance with Angelina. So you figure that's extending to Mike. So he's got that for him in terms of, some protection. I don't know if it's enough. He's not going to be strong in challenges. I don't know. It varies by season how much that actually matters.
Right.
And in an 8-person tribe, it shouldn't matter as much. That's one of the problems with these 6-person, 3-tribe things is that it can matter more.
Well, I'm looking at this tribe and I think he's in danger. I see Jonathan and Coach both saying Mike isn't honorable. He's not playing this honest, honorable game. He was kind of, sneaky and a little smarmy on his season. And then he's not going to be good at challenges. So then who's the weakest looking physical challenge on here is him and Chrissy probably.
Hey, Chrissy holds a record. Don't forget. She holds a immunity record. Most immunity wins by a woman.
Yeah, but that's an individual where it's balance and puzzle.
And she has said, to your point, Tyson, she has said she is worried about that being seen as that in the early portion of this game in terms of group challenges. She is concerned about that.
On a returning season, that doesn't matter as much. People are more concerned with their relationships than winning challenges on the tribe stage. But you are right. It doesn't, when I'm looking at Mike here in this group photo, who does he have? Maybe Chrissy, maybe Charlie. Maybe those two are the only two that really stand out as people I feel like would be really open to working with Mike here.
Do you think, let's just pretend that there's been no discussions and no alliance or anything between them. I would assume actually there hasn't been. How would Coach feel about having a big personality like Mike White on his tribe? Coach said, I read you the quote in my interview. I'm a performer. I like to perform.
Yeah.
He's got Mike White there, who's clearly going to be the focus of the cameras. You were a big focus in Token Sheens with Coach. How will he deal with that with Mike White? Will he not like that?
Coach says that when we were going through casting and I was getting most of the attention and he had to step up his game in casting, that he did not like that. He was very bothered by me there. But then when we got on the island, he fell in love with me and then it was not an issue at all. My concern with Mike White and Coach here isn't so much that Coach will be concerned that Mike's stealing the spotlight. It's more that their vibes will not match. Yeah. I feel like Mike comes across as sneaky, even if he's not being sneaky, he looks like a sneaky person. And coach is going to take that and be like, he is not honorable, and go to Jonathan and complain about how not honorable Mike is. And Mike may not even be doing anything, but he does have his reputation from the last season where he was willing to be sneaky. And I think that I don't see Coach and Mike White vibing. I don't know why. I see Mike being okay with it. Mike being like, oh, wow, it's Coach. He's ridiculous. And be like taking entertainment value in that. I don't see Coach reciprocating that, those feelings towards Mike.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to need Chrissy to step up and protect him through. I mean, if Chrissy's in lockstep with Angelina, and Angelina's told me she's in lockstep with Chrissy and Mike, that means Chrissy and Mike are together. So you got a duo there. Is that going to be enough?
Can Chrissy win over Coach and Jonathan and get in that honorable group? Is she someone who could be believed as being honorable and playing with integrity?
I think she could be, actually. I think she could be. You know, Chrissy, you know, I know we haven't formally moved over to discussing Chrissy.
Let's move to Chrissy.
Okay. All right. Let's transition. My interview with her was fascinating. This is why I love doing returning player interviews, because you really get at like a lot of often trauma from these previous appearances. Even in Winners of War, you had people like Michelle and Ben who were just really like traumatized by being told they didn't deserve to win their seasons. And Chrissy was like just brutalized on a weekly basis by her cast in Exit Press. I mean, every week people were just hammering her. And then you throw in the controversial finish where, you know, with Ben and the final four fire making thing coming up at the last second. Just there's a lot to work through there with her. So, you know, not close with her cast, previous cast.
Yeah.
But I think that she's got people here that are, you know, excited to play with her. As a viewer, I love Chrissy. I love just like, she's assertive. She's going to give you great quotes because she's not going to mince words. She's going to play all out, which is something I love. And, you know, she might rub some people the wrong way. Guess what? I love that too. We need more of that on Survivor. So we'll see. Like, I guess that gets into the coach question again. Like, what you're basically asking is, Christy is a very strong personality. And how will coach respond to that? We saw in Tocantins some women, this is a long time ago. This is a long time ago.
18 years.
But some women with very strong personalities he did not react well to. Do you think that will be, has he changed since then, Tyson? I think he has.
Yeah. I mean, he specifically clashed with Aaron and with Sierra, and being there firsthand, there was some justification to that. Like they were not on the same plane. And he was fine with Taj. Like, he didn't have beef with Taj, who was there till the very end. And he didn't have beef with Debbie. Debbie was maybe not as strong of a personality as some of those other women. I don't think that's going to be a factor for him with Chrissy. I think she's a similar age in the age range. And if I think she can present herself as playing honorable and filled with integrity, which I think coach is going to love. And so I think she's going to be fine with coach. And if she's fine with Mike, maybe she can bridge the gap between the two if there is one. Jonathan gets pulled in there with the honor and integrity. And maybe even Tiffany. I think Dee is going to have a hard time getting in there. I think Kamilla is going to have a hard time getting in there. And I think Charlie's going to have a hard time getting in there in that honorable group. And then,
I love the fact you forgot about Candace from Token Jeans and Coach.
Candace and Coach. Oh, I forgot about that.
That was
Coach definitely rubbed Candace the wrong way. He should not have tried to lick her face.
Is that frowned upon these days?
It was always frowned upon. I don't think there was ever a time when that was okay. So I think that, I did forget about Candace. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot about Candace.
Well, it's interesting is, we keep talking about the honor and integrity thing, and like you mentioned, Kamilla will have a hard time getting there, but Kamilla, again, I don't know how much Coach is paying attention, but Kamilla, huge Coach fan, and if there's one thing Coach loves, it's people being huge fans of Coach.
Can she win him over?
So can she win him over? Right?
Yeah.
Like she's like, it's the polar opposite. She loves Coach, but she also loves, and said it on TV. She loves backstabbing people and lying to their face.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how does which does Coach love more? I don't know which side.
Can she present herself as honorable to Coach in such a capacity that she's? And I don't even know if this is the way this season or this tribe is going. I've just been, as I'm looking at the divisions here, it seems like the mantle of honor and integrity is going to be a conversation piece and might be the majority of this tribe here.
It seemed to be, to me, to be the biggest sort of pregame alliance going into it. And I could be wrong, because again, half the people are lying to me or not saying things on the record.
You think the ones that have integrity wouldn't lie to you, though.
And they didn't, which is why we know about it, right? Like they all would say, here's what they'd say. All these people in this honor and integrity alliance, who'd you talk to before the game? No one really. Who do you want to play with? And then they all said each other. The exact 4 or 5 people would all say each other.
That's funny.
So you do the math. I guess the question is, if Kamilla comes up to him, and I guess we've sort of segued to Kamilla, if Kamilla comes up to Coach on day one, Tyson, and says, I want to be your assistant coach. I want to slay dragons with you. Does kneels down with the sword in front of him.
Give me a nickname.
Right. Give me a nickname. He's all in on her, right? Or not?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, he is all in. He will have a hard time getting away from her if she comes at him with that. Even if others are coming to him saying she's lying, if she is giving him that much love, he will have a hard time voting her out.
And if you're Kamilla and you're a smart player and you've watched Coach, that's exactly 5 minutes after you get to the beach, once you get to the water well with him, that's exactly what you need to do.
The only person I wanted here was you, Coach. Oh my God, I can't believe we're on the same tribe. I knew you'd be out here, and the fact that we're on the same tribe, it's fate. And I just want to tell you that I would love to be a dragon slayer in training. Yeah.
And she's got receipts. She has my interview from 48. She's got receipts where she's going to say, that you're my favorite player ever. I've said it in my press. And so, that could work with her. I will say, as we're talking about Kamilla, like obviously because the Survivor 48 finished airing like less than 2 weeks before they were out there. I mean, that's the thing that was fresh in their minds.
Right.
And so people were very worried about Kyle and Kamilla. Because of so effortlessly the way they just fooled everyone and Tyson, how hard it is to have that close an alliance out there and have no one know about it. It's very, very difficult, and I think that really scared a lot of players. Yeah. So that's tougher.
They almost need like the other one to go home early to free them up to.
Heroes versus villains. I was actually hoping that Coach would go out early. And
because then it would free you to play your own game.
It would just free me to play my own game without people worrying about what Coach and I had going on.
Kamilla told me straight up, and I do believe her, that she would not have gone on. This is in my cover story. She would not have gone on 50 had she known that Kyle was there.
Wow.
That she wouldn't have done it. That they didn't speak about it. And whatever. She's a good liar, but like, why would she tell me that? So. You look at the reason, I was like, I believe her that she would not have done, she would have been like, all right, you go do 50. I'm sure they're going to have players back and I'll come back that time. And it just puts such a target on both of them. Thankfully, obviously on different tribes. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's a huge demerit for her. And makes her a much bigger threat. And she's worried because, okay, she's good at puzzles. But she's, again, like you talked about Chrissy in those early challenge areas, if it becomes a strength thing, maybe not because bigger tribes, but if it does, that could be a reason to get rid of her as well.
Yeah. So we have 2 more left on this tribe, on the Kalo Tribe. Kalo. We'll figure it out. We'll know in a couple weeks
I should know this. I was out there. I heard Probe say it 100 times.
Yeah.
And I just forgot.
We're bummed we didn't come out there with you, Dalton. I had some other commitments that I had to do. Otherwise, Ashleigh, Riley, and me would have all been out there on 50 playing the challenges with you and doing interviews separate from you, but in the same vein. And
it's it's fun. It's fun doing that. We had the Sirius XM show. We came out as a show a few times, and it was super fun doing that. And I still have a scar from one of the challenges I did. So you could have watched me wipe out in one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Got a lot of material in that.
I have some scars from Survivor. Let's get to, let's go to D. We'll go to D. She had previous winner, and she host of On Fire. And she just got back from recording the challenge airing on TV, and then is now on Survivor 50. Will any of that?
She has the straight up highest threat level in the. I think this is where you're
on
going,
this tribe.
Tyson. Sorry to Tyson to cut you off, but
do it.
I feel not on the tribe, in the whole season. I think.
Yes. The answer is yes. I mean, Kyle's probably pretty close because they literally just saw him one, but I think it's D because she's widely regarded as the best New Era winner, if not just best New Era player, ever. Like she was just a cold-blooded assassin on her season. Yeah. And you talk about like lying effortlessly and just being like a total package in terms of social, and she's obviously super athletic as well. So yes, she has the highest threat level, I would say, of anyone on the entire season.
Does everyone know that?
If you're going to take out the 49 people, and they're threats for a totally different reason. Like, we don't have any on this tribe, so we don't have to talk too much about them. But obviously the unknown factor, Tyson knows that from Russell Hantz on Heroes, Villains, and Coach and others. Even people like Kyle were bringing up Russell Hantz, Heroes versus Villains, and they wanted no part of the 49ers, having no dossier, no book, no nothing on them. Other than that, D is got the biggest target on her, and that's gonna be really, really difficult for her to get off. I think. I mean, I don't know how you navigate. She's won. So, like not only is she a great player, but she's won. People might not want to see her win again. Oh, she's already had her glory. You look at the tribe she's with now. Where's her protection? We know she's met Coach. We don't know how much that means. We know she's talked to Charlie. We're not sure how much that means before the game.
Right.
I think she could be in trouble.
Yeah. I think, and I feel like when you're a threat like this going into the game, you have to win everyone over with charm, with just charm. Just be like, you need everyone to say, I didn't expect her to be that cool. And she definitely has that within her to do that, but like that should be her primary focus. If she understands that she is as big of a threat as everyone perceives her to be, the best thing she can do is kill people with kindness early.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I also will point this out. I had this in my story as well. When I was out there for Heroes Villains, I mean, the name that came up the most as the biggest threat was Parvati. And she made it all the way to the end. Yeah. Now, the other name was Suri, and she went early. Right. But Parvati and Suri, because of Micronesia being still relatively fresh, those are the two players. And she still made it all the way to the end. So, it can happen. But she's got tough sledding. She's not super protected on her tribe. We talked about Mike White and how Mike White could go really early. That obviously could help her if he gets into a situation where one of those people has to go. Maybe she gets a little time to make those inroads you're talking about. I mean, she's super charming. She's got just like a $1 million laugh and smile. She can do anything. She's a hard worker. There's no reason to vote her out, which is what makes her so dangerous, right? There's literally like she's just a positive person you want to have around your camp,
right?
Which is why you should get her out of your camp.
Yeah, I agree, and looking at this tribe, I mean, I think she will work with Kamilla. It looks like that is natural. I could see them working with Mike White. Like, can D work into an integrity alliance? I think D and Charlie could be a thing here too. Can she make the bridge with some of these older contestants?
Yeah, she and Charlie are a thing. We know she admitted she spoke to him before the game. And maybe they get together with Tiff and they go, and Kamilla. All right, we got 4 New Era strong.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where it goes. I mean, like, everyone I spoke to, I asked this question to everyone, is this going to be old era versus new era? And everyone kind of said, like, I hope not. Like, I don't think so.
That'd be great.
Whether that's going to be true or not, we don't know. But that's what everyone was saying. I mean, like, obviously everyone was bummed at Winners at War when a lot of the old school legends.
It was a full conversation that it was going to, and the old school had way less contestants on the season than the new school, and it ended up being just a straight slaughter.
This is even. This is 12 and 12. I mean, if you're gonna break it at 40, it's 12. It's 12 and 12. But those 12 people in the new era are much more tightly compacted, right? I mean, like in the old era, you got Jenna Lewis and you got Rick Devens. They're 37 seasons apart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's still old school versus new school on top of the new era. There's, if we're doing a celebration of eras, it should have been old school, and new era tribes.
Yeah.
And just let them all eat each other. And then going into the merge, you have a pretty good number of all three of those representations. But then also you're encouraging the eras to be at war with each other, and maybe they're trying to mix and mingle, and maybe it will work. But I think Dee needs to do what I told Coach to do. Sit at the camp. Don't scramble. Don't move around. Don't go to the well. Don't go to the beach. Hang out in camp. Let people come to you. Be charming. Be funny. Sit around. Just hang out. Have a great time. And people will come and whisper in your ear. And I think that Dee is one of those threats that if I'm on the beach, I'm watching her movements. I'm specifically watching Dee move and seeing where and how she moves.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just the last note on that old school, new school. We throw Jonathan, I forgot, of course, in the mix. Yes. So you've got five new school era versus 3 old school. So it's right there. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Jonathan seems pretty locked with Coach. Now, maybe they go to Jonathan and say, look, we're not going for Coach, but let's get, Mike White or Chrissy out. That's possible. But if it's like, you're doing the math, you've got the numbers. We got 5 new era players here. Let's just, for this first vote, you say, just for this first vote, let's just get one of them out. And then you try and go from there to get numbers. And
I agree. I think, the first vote is always, you're looking at where the lines are drawn without having the interactions, without having all the relationships built up. And that's new era versus old school right there. 5 versus 3. Let's just minimize it by 1. Then we know we have the clear majority. We're not going to sabotage ourselves and look like a laughing stock if we start eating ourselves before we minimize them. So I think if they go to tribal council first, I think the new era has to vote out one of the old school players.
And if you're Dee, you talked about how she just needs to have conversations at camp, don't go off and this and that. Doesn't she also need to make a big effort to not be seen as leading anything? Like, you know what I mean? Like, just
that's part of it. Yeah.
I just want to go along with the flow. Like, let someone else take the reins. Let a Kamilla or a Charlie or Tiffany's.
And when one of them comes and whispers in your ears and tells you the plan, be like, I'm down for whatever. I'm with you. Just let's do it. I'm not threatening because I'm literally just hanging out. Like, that's the vibe she needs to give. Her and Coach specifically need to put off that vibe. So Jonathan, ultimately, let's get to him. Are they going to be winning challenges here with this group because of Jonathan?
He is a force, man. And the thing everyone wants to see is Jonathan versus Ozzy in the water. Jonathan was, a D1 swimmer. We know about Ozzy.
I was a D1 swimmer too.
Really?
Yeah. At BYU, I swam the mile.
You swam? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew you were a good swimmer, but yeah.
Jonathan swam at Alabama.
Yeah.
He was a sprinter, but Alabama was one of the top programs in the country. So to swim at Alabama is very big. Ozzy, not a collegiate swimmer. I think if you're pure swimming ability, Jonathan is going to be a better swimmer.
Yeah.
But endurance-wise, we'll see. I mean, Yule on Winners at War said that he played with Ozzy and I am the strongest swimmer he's ever seen on Survivor. So the difference between someone who enjoys swimming and is good at swimming and someone who swam in college, essentially college is professional level swimming because that's the highest level you can get. So I don't think it will be a contest in the water, especially because Jonathan's a lot younger.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
More in shape currently.
Yeah.
But just because you're a good swimmer doesn't mean that Ozzy maybe can't hold his breath longer or do things like that. But I think as far as like pace in the water, Jonathan, I would not be able to beat Jonathan in a swim unless it was very, very long.
Yeah. He, I mean, and don't forget that challenge where he literally carried him through his tribe through the water. Yeah.
But those are like, they somehow found the 15 worst swimmers of all time.
It still is amazing to me that, that they'll get people out there that can't swim. It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And, because I mean, I'll talk to people like new players and they'll be like, yeah, I know, I just learned how to swim. I'm like, oh, he's like, yeah, I just went to like the Y, got a membership, taught me something. I'm like, well, have you ever swum in the ocean? Because it's not the same, dude.
Yeah. Like swimming at the Y.
It is not the same.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with like a Jonathan who's probably swam his whole life, even Ozzy who's probably in and around the water his whole life, is you're not afraid of the ocean.
Right.
Like I can go in the water, I'm not afraid. And no matter how big the waves are, I know how to handle the waves. I know how to dip under the waves. I know how to be underwater. I know how to hold on to the coral reef if the current's bad. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes into all of that. And if you have taught yourself how to swim at the Y and you get in some wavy water, fear immediately takes hold and then you're done. And I think that's what we saw that episode with Jonathan saving every member of the cast from getting washed away. So
it's absolutely crazy.
What is Jonathan's arc here? What is he going to do this season? Is he going to bring something different? Are we going to see a different style? Is it going to be the same Jonathan? I mean, he was pretty straightforward the first season he played. So I think he naturally fits into that honor and integrity group. And you said he was having conversations with Coach, or he was connected with Coach, or
it was he wouldn't necessarily admit to it, but it was pretty clear that they, like I said, though, he's part of those 4 or 5 people that all mentioned the exact same 4 or 5 people. What was fascinating was I mentioned how Coach said he was taking your advice. Jonathan apparently read the Boston Rob rule book. Is that what it's called? Rob's book? I think it's called the Boston Rob rule book. But he actually got a private tutorial. Maybe an audiobook reading of it, because basically Boston Rob was giving him all these lessons on things he needed to do when he went out there. And that included he has to, listen more. He has to smile more. He has to watch the tone of his voice because he's a big, huge, voice, and like people find that intimidating. So he needs to almost kind of shrink himself a little bit in a weird way. So he's gotten all this advice from Rob before coming out on the island. Will it be good enough? I don't know. I see him as, a strategic follower rather than a leader in terms of that alliance. But we'll see. I don't know how valuable is Boston Rob advice for heading on the island, Tyson?
I mean, he knows how to play the game. He's played the game enough. I think you take it, but it's not a guaranteed recipe for success. I mean, when I go out on TV shows and Rob gets wind of it, he's like, Tyson, you know what to do. He'll start telling me stuff. And then he's like, you know what to do. Why am I trying to give you advice on this stuff? But I do think that giving Jonathan some of that advice, some of it is common sense. Like if I'm a big guy like Jonathan, I know that I'm intimidating. I need to figure out how to lower that intimidation factor as much as I can. When I go on shows now, I know that I have a pointy, chiseled face that automatically makes me a little bit scary to people. I need to somehow soften the edges of my cheekbones to
do that. Do you hold some air in your mouth?
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Pufferfish.
It's working.
Yeah. See, everyone's less threatened by me.
You look so friendly.
I don't, but I do believe that, that I think that's some good advice for Jonathan is to seem more lighthearted and somehow, minimize his physical stature if he can. So I don't hate that advice.
Yeah, no, I think it is good advice. I mean, but the question is, he's being told to smile more and lower. You
can't say that to a lot of people. That's
you can say it to him. You can say it to a dude. But the question is, you get out there and it's day 16, and he's a dude that needs tons of protein.
Yeah.
And it's raining, and are you really gonna be able to smile through that and remember to put on this facade? Probably not. I did ask him specifically about, you saw him, those are the dudes Tyson knows, super skinny dudes like me and Tyson probably would do the best out in those elements, dealing with those elements.
Yeah.
It's big, huge, bulking dudes that need tons and tons of protein, thousands and thousands of calories every day.
Just calories in general, not even protein. Calories.
Calories. That just they're the ones that have the hardest time in that environment. So I said, well, how are you going to manage that? And he at least said, well, last time he tried to go, he just went cold turkey. This time he's trying to wean himself down off his eating a little bit. So I don't know if that makes any difference. You probably know better than any of us, Tyson, whether there's anything diet-wise you can do, but that's at least what he's going to try.
I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily think so. Maybe the thing is that you're going to go through a detox on the island or off the island. It's not a big difference other than you're starving yourself for longer a little bit, I guess.
It feels like you're just getting a head start on starving yourself.
Yeah. So what I would do if I were in someone's position, if I were going back out, I wouldn't even necessarily bulk. I would maybe if you wanted to train your body to not eat a little bit, do that. But then the week or two leading up, eat whatever you want as much as you want to just reset. So then when you get out there, you're not already been starving for 2 weeks.
Would you alter your diet in any way before playing?
No, but I think if you were a caffeine addict, then maybe come off of caffeine.
I've told you my Shane Powers story, right?
Nicotine is the same thing. And I watched Rupert smoking 6 cigarettes before he hit the beach. Any addictions I would try to wean off of before going out there. But again, you're going to just detox on the island. So if you feel like you can do that and still be in good enough spirits, then whatever. So
I don't know how people do. Like I told you, Shane was smoking, literally 4 packs of cigarettes a day the day before, and just super gulps of coffee the day before he went out there. And you saw what happened when he got out there. It was just, guy went crazy.
Yeah, he sure did.
It's bonkers. That's what they should do. They should force drip coffee people for a week before they have to go play, and just watch them all go Looney Tunes on the island. That'll give us some spice back.
Yeah. That's they used to give you, remember when you get liquor as a reward, and you'd have a couple super drunk people out there being
always the best.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Bring that back.
They don't do that anymore. Bring that back.
I know. They should, but the thing about Jonathan is literally not I asked all 23 other players, who are you worried and wary about in this game? Not one single person said Jonathan. Not a single person.
So when I'm looking at Jonathan, and if I'm on this season, you're asking me that question, I'm saying, physically, he's very strong. End game, I'm not scared. Strategy, I'm not scared.
Yeah. Yeah, no one's scared of him. And
I'd love to go to the end with Jonathan. And get me to the end with Jonathan.
100%. And also, by the way, those individual immunity challenges he's not going to do well in the vast majority. And they're you need small balance, this, that. It's not super physical individual.
How much can you squat?
It's not that kind of stuff. It's not a swim race.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no real reason to worry about him from the physical standpoint either. You keep him in through the merge to when you do have physical elements, and then do what you want with him after that. So he's in a good spot in that I don't know why anyone would want to vote him out of their tribe.
Did he make his own pants here in these cast photos?
I don't know what
I was just wondering about that.
Well, he's famous for making his own shirts because he always has the huge, like, ripped out collar of them. And I think he was doing a giveaway after his season where he would hand make a shirt for you. And all
Where's
of those
yours
things.
Right now?
I didn't get one.
No?
I don't think they make them in that small of a size.
Oh, man.
I'm a large. I don't think they make them that small. So looking at this tribe, Dalton, who is going to get voted out first?
Yeah, so like we talked about it, and I think the two targets we sort of looked at were like Mike and Dee, right? Like those are the ones that you're sort of worried about.
Dee, maybe Chrissy, if she's the considered a liability on the challenges.
It could be Kamilla.
Kamilla could be Kamilla. Yeah, could be Kamilla.
I feel like Mike is
Charlie,
like
maybe. Well, now
half
the tribe.
I feel like Mike can be a liability in the challenges and is also going to have a hard time fitting into that integrity, honorable alliance. And I think if I'm in that honorable integrity alliance, which I would be on the outsides of, but imagining that I'm on it, I think Mike would be my target.
If I were looking, now remember, I was out there for the first elimination.
Right.
So, if
no spoilers.
what I would, of course not, but what I would say is if I were looking at this and taking it without having any knowledge of what happens in any of the challenge or anything, and you asked me to pick, I'd judging strictly on the interviews and what I did. Dee's the biggest threat, but I would think that Mike would be in the biggest trouble for the first vote, right? Like for the first vote, I think Mike would be in the most trouble.
Okay.
And then if he could make it, if Dee would be in more trouble after that. Yeah. That's what I would say.
Okay. And who from this tribe is best positioned to win overall? Coach.
I'm telling you, I can't believe I'm saying it. And I'm like, what do you sound so stupid.
He was my preseason pick, but also he did seem well positioned. He seemed positioned in a way that I was positioned on Blood versus Water, maybe a little bit. Even Winners at War, I was very well positioned between the young and the old and the new and the old and all of that. So I think Coach is in a good position here in that capacity. Ashleigh, who's going home first for you and who's going to win?
Oh my goodness. I think Dee might be going home first, only because of how everybody mentioned her name, like at least once in their interviews about being like, oh, she is the best gosh darn Survivor player of all time. Maybe we should get her out of here. And I'm going to think like Tiffany could sneak in there. I feel like she could connect with both the integrity bunch and like the new era people if they start getting into an alliance, and any stragglers, she'd be good. I think she's just really good at just being like under the radar, but also good at connecting with people. And she also has she knows what's going on. Usually, from what I remember, she knew what was going on with different alliances. So I think Tiffany can get really far. Though Coach, of course, everybody wants to work with Coach. And that is like huge with Survivor. Every single person wants to work with Coach. And I'm like, so Tiffany or Coach?
Tiffany's a good pick. I like that pick.
Riley?
I think that Kamilla is the one who I feel is the most in trouble, just coming right off of her season, and they go into this and her entire, maybe not entire story that season, but her strategic theme was just lying and backstabbing all the time. She's the person that I feel like you can trust the least out here. She's very good at the puzzles, so I think there's a good chance that this tribe maybe doesn't go to tribal council for the first round or two. Right. In which case she can build some inroads. That always mixes things up. But if they do end up going very early, I think that her name will definitely be thrown out there. And then the person I think could go far and could win, I also have Tiffany. I always said before we even knew the cast of 50, I was always like, whoever is kind of the most random person that's cast is going to just automatically be my winner pick. I think, and I don't think is an insult to Tiffany at all. I think that it's clearly Tiffany was kind of the most like, whoa, I didn't expect her to be on this season. I liked her on her season. She just wasn't as big of a star as some of the other people that we had. But there's a long history here of contestants who are kind of the random person and then do really well. I think that Sarah Lacina was one of those. Parvy, to an extent, was one of those.
Amber,
absolutely Amber. Yeah, kind of the quintessential one. Even like Kelly Wentworth, who didn't win but went very far. You get these. I don't know why they're all women. I don't think that's necessarily
Sarah Dawn
thing. Yeah, but it's like you just come in super under the radar and you can play a really, really impressive game from there. So I'm very excited to watch Tiffany this season. I think that she definitely goes far.
Yeah. What about you, Tyson?
I think Mike White's in trouble. And that's just me picturing myself on this tribe and trying to navigate and get whatever heat off of me I can. I think Mike makes the most sense. If you're able to collect enough people who are at least claiming to play honorably, let's focus on Mike. And if he's not performing in challenges, again, another reason. Now you have two reasons. So I think Mike has an uphill battle to making his way to the merge here. As far as getting far in the game, I like the Tiffany and Coach picks a lot. I think Jonathan gets far, but I don't picture him winning. I think, like you said, like he's going to help this tribe be physical and he's going to provide, he's going to get the fish, he's going to do all of that. And if I'm on here, I think I would get along well with Jonathan as long as he didn't call me Mr. Tyson every time.
He would.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Rob. I'm Mr. Dalton. He referred to Miss Stephanie. You're Mr. Tyson.
Yeah. I don't love that. And I would use it as a way to vote him out eventually, but it would be after the merge.
One thing I want to say that I just haven't mentioned, the people that just I'm most excited to watch this season, the two people I'm most excited to watch this season are Angelina and Chrissy. And that also kind of extends to other people in the 30s like Christian. And what part of it is we've only seen them once, and we also haven't seen them for a while. They're in that sweet spot where it feels like, oh, they haven't been on my screen for a while. Like they're not overexposed. Their games are still kind of like, and it's not like the people we've just seen from 48 and 49. And so I'm really, and they're also like Angelina and Chrissy, and just putting more on Chrissy because it's the tribe we're talking about. Like I feel like she's gonna like I said, she's gonna cause a little drama. Like maybe not like, and I'm not saying she's gonna go out of her way to like be dramatic, but just like Chrissy's a really strong personality. And when you're casting someone, it's not just what are you casting them for? How are the other people going to react to that? Right? Like that's why like Wu was so great on Cagayan, right? You might say like Wu, but the way people had to react to everything Wu did, like with like, it's just like Wu taking Tony to the final two was amazing television.
Yeah.
So this is very different, but I think Chrissy makes the season better.
Yeah.
Having people react to whatever it is that she does. She is not a wallflower. Yeah. She is not going to sit back. And Angelina's the same way. And I think I'm really excited to watch that.
And with Chrissy, you said that on her original season, her cast did not speak highly of her.
Yeah.
Was that because she was so brash, or is that because she got too close to them that when she cut them, they took it personally?
I think she was too brash, but both things can be true, right?
Yeah,
like both things can be true. I think that they found her abrasive. I don't. They did.
Yeah.
And I think that Chrissy's not the type of person to like have a tear in her eye when she votes you out and say how hard it is and how you bonded out there and talked about your sick mothers together and this and that. That's not her. Right. So she wasn't getting close in that way. I feel like they found her a little cold, probably.
Okay. That's the opposite of too close.
Yeah. But they found her cold, but were aligned with her, and then she cut them. Right. Yeah. So close in that sense, close maybe strategically in some senses.
Right.
But not close in terms of like they were pouring out their deep, dark secrets to each other. Obviously that can be an issue, and that's how that's how Coach got in trouble, right?
That's how Coach got in trouble. I think Dawn got in trouble on her season and Fans versus Favorites too.
Yes.
For getting too close to people and then cutting them. But that's also the weirdest balance of like keeping them close enough that they trust you and you have a personal bond, but not so personal that when you cut them, they hate you.
I love Dawn, and I've always felt so bad for her, and I always used to think what a raw deal she got, because that was back in the era of Survivor, where if you were a mom and you were a mom who had adopted all these children, and you were a mom who had adopted all these children, was very religious, for some reason you weren't allowed to lie in the game. Like for some reason, there was this complete double standard. If you were some 20-something-year-old bro, you could lie and do whatever, and like you were expected to do that. But if you were a mom, if you were a woman who had kids and spoke about their religion, for some reason you had to play by a different set of rules. And that's what happened to Dawn.
Yeah. I also think from the from the audience perspective, or from the players that she was playing with.
What's that? Oh, from both.
Because I think that, and I'm going to, not necessarily defending the bros here, but I think with the matriarchal feel of her persona, it's easier for her to get really close. I don't feel like I'm bonding with a bro in that same deepness that I would with someone who's feels like a mom. And
right,
so then when the mom chops me, I'm like, fuck, dude, I told you feelings. With the bro, I'm not telling the bro feelings. I'm telling the mom feelings, but I'm not telling the bro feelings. So I think that is the balance of that character of like, Dawn, someone like Dawn, maybe someone like Chrissy, maybe you need to use that to your advantage. But if you lock too deep into it, people will feel personally slighted when you get the better of them. And a bro doesn't, like, I'm not getting as deep with a bro.
Riley's not agreeing with you. He's shaking his head. He's like nodding a lot.
I don't know, because I still feel like there's an element of, like, we see lots of these betrayals happen, and it's like, why does, I don't know. I got a noodle on this some. I just feel like I think that some people get the benefit of a big betrayal being like great game move, and others it's like, you stab me, and that was a real root.
And part of it is being self-aware enough to understand how that person is going to react when you do it. And then keeping certain people arm's length, knowing they would take it more personal, and keeping people closer, knowing they wouldn't. Like, everyone needs something different. And if you're unable to balance that, and you give everyone giving everyone the same deepness, like, okay, I shared my feelings, but everyone's sharing their feelings with that person. Now, it's like me sharing my feelings with them doesn't feel as special as, like, that's also like, there's a lot to it. The balance of Survivor. That's why it's still on TV. That's why people still play it. That's why everyone still celebrates it.
The difference between like Dawn and Coach is pretty clear, right? Like Coach was using that stuff in an alliance game sense. Like he was using religion and this and that. And like Dawn was just being personal. Dawn was being Dawn. Dawn was being someone with a really open heart and tender, and trying to like connect with people while also playing the game. And she's able to separate that. But like you said, Tyson, other people were not. I think what happened, this is not to bash Brenda at all, but I think what happened there at that final tribal was just a really ugly moment. Where Brenda, really tried to personally just humiliate Dawn. Because Dawn did a game move and cut her, which, you can argue whether that was the
Brenda's
right or wrong move
to protect Dawn and get Dawn's teeth out of the water was not a game move. That was her helping a friend so that her friend felt comfortable on TV, only to then be backstabbed by that friend, is a very tricky balance. And what Brenda did, was wrong, but also like was Brenda's perspective, is like, I went outside of the game to help you so you didn't quit the game, because you would have just left without your teeth. And then you get rid of me. Like, I can see how Brenda felt slighted by that for sure.
Yeah, it's one of the trickiest things too, because you can look at it and you can say, we're getting deep in the weeds here, that, what Dawn did was just a game move. And it was probably the wrong game move, because you have to anticipate how Brenda's going to feel about that and just how that's going to go. I mean, it shouldn't be, but that's just the way you got to read the jury.
Yes.
But, it's still, I think, a massive double standard that used to exist, that exists a lot less now in terms of, the religious mom, not being able to play Survivor the way that other people were playing it.
Right.
Because it would be thrown against them. It'd be thrown in their face all the time. You know, you're a mom and how you kids and you say, you know, you're spiritual and you did this to me. Like,
yeah, that is true. I mean, I even had that a little bit on the challenge. Sarah had people come to me and be like, your kids are going to watch this and you betrayed, you went against your word. And I was like, I don't care. What are you like? Like they'll be proud of me. They're going to high five me as soon as this is done, especially after this conversation. You asshole. Anyways, thank you so much, Dalton, for your time and for your insight. And we love everything you do over at EW. I still have hard copies of quotes of mine that you put in EW when we had the magazines. So those are here in the office. We celebrate them daily. As we start our day, we come in. Everyone has to read a Tyson quote from one of Dalton Ross's EW articles, and then I send the kids to school.
That's true. Listen, those are the days back when we had print media. It was those are the halcyon days of journalism back then. I miss those days. I do appreciate, you know, people that still take time to read. I know that's not the way our culture is going now. It's a lot of video, a lot of audio, not as much reading. I try and put some stuff out there and hope people are enjoying it. But it's always great to chat with you guys. Always love coming on the pod and talking Survivor. I could do this all day.
Yeah, I could too. We could go for a few more hours, but I have a flight to catch. Dalton, you can follow him on social medias. You can find him on, is it EW.com or EntertainmentWeekly.com?
Yeah, that works.
Both.
No, EW.com.
EW.com. He's on there. You can search. He covers everything Survivor all the time. Some of the deepest dives you'll see on players, cast, seasons, all across the board. So go check it out. And thank you all for tuning in. We will see you next week. And if you're coming to Phoenix, I'll be present during the golden ticket giveaway. I went to Utah this past week. I shook about 3,000 hands. My hand is sore from shaking so many hands. And people were very excited. And I anticipate that for Phoenix coming up next week. So maybe we'll see you there. If not, you can hear me in your ears with Riley and Ashleigh and another guest next week. Thanks, Dalton. Thanks, everyone. See ya.